Smell that, NFL fans? Smells like some juicy rumors coming your way on today's episode of NFL Daily by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Moustakis. You know what to call me. It's your guy Moose hanging out with you. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of all the craziest rumors, this is the most recent. It's not a rumor. It's just news. The Commanders have released Jonathan Allen after not being able to find a suitable trade partner. And let's be honest, this wasn't really shocking news. At least it wasn't to me. They were having trouble trying to get trade people and trade partners to acquire him. Didn't work out the way that they thought, and they both parted ways. Here's what Ian Rappaport had to say about it. The Commanders are releasing veteran defensive tackle Jonathan Allen after trying to trade him. That's it. Super easy. There was a picture attached with it, but we don't have the capabilities to do that. So it was just plain black and white. And I honestly think Jonathan Allen, he's going to be a great commodity for whatever team decides to sign him, right? Now there's nothing holding anybody back. There's no trying to find draft compensation or another player. It's just Jonathan Allen free to sign with whomever he wants to sign. And he's still a very good player. So I wish him the very best of luck. His time in Washington was phenomenal, but whatever team he lands on is going to be very, very grateful to acquire his talent. So here's what I want to do before we get even further into today's rumors. Send this video to somebody that has never seen a Chat Sports video. If you love what we do here, and I know you do, send it to somebody that's going to love it as well. Believe it or not, that's how I found out about Chat Sports. I found out through a video that somebody sent me, and then it led to a further and further watching of the videos, and eventually I was lucky enough to get hired on here as some talent. So let's get into our latest rumors, shall we? DK Metcalf trade requests. We're starting off with a heavy hitter. So Tyler Lockett got released the other day by the Seattle Seahawks, and while all Seahawks fans were lamenting about his time in Seattle, DK Metcalf, about half an hour later, decided to request a trade, and I think that speaks volumes about his character. Now, we're not going to talk about his character right this second. We're just going to talk about his on-the-field resume. He was a 2019 pick out of Ole Miss, a two-time Pro Bowler, and a second-team All-Pro in 2020. And believe it or not, most receiving yards in a single season for him was 1,300 in 2020. And if you look at the last 4 seasons, there's no doubt that DK is a productive wide receiver. He's always hovering right around 1,000 yards. He's a big-bodied dude, great at the point of attack, bullies younger and smaller cornerbacks and safeties. He's a big play threat type of guy. Not the greatest route runner, although he can do that. That is part of his game. But he's not a receptions guy, right? He's not going to be a player that gets you 110 receptions in a single season. He's going to hover right around 75, but he always gives you that big play ability. And look, the truth is, they need to part ways. DK and Seattle, it's just not working, guys. And that's okay. We see this all the time. Every single year, there are players, especially wide receivers, that get a little full of themselves. They start making demands. They start getting noisy on the sidelines. They start being bad teammates. There's on-the-field issues in terms of penalties. And eventually, when the asking price is high and they start making noise in the offseason, it is time to just part ways. Now, I say this because I believe DK is turning into a bit of a head case. Stephon Diggs has gotten noisy. He's been moved around. DK Metcalf last year got noisy. You see where I'm getting at? Probably going to get moved around. So I think DK is a valuable asset to a team. There's no doubt he's productive. You saw it in his stats. You see it in his body type. I believe he's like, 4.5% body fat? That guy's an athletic freak. But truth be told, I think his market size is considerably shrinking because of the on-field issues, right? His attitude, his ability to be a good teammate. There's nothing wrong with DK the player, but I think NFL GMs and coaches are going to look at this and go, is it worth the risk? Maybe for the right price. But I'm going to ask you this. Would you trade for DK Metcalf? So whatever team that you're a fan of, would you decide to trade for DK Metcalf? Give me a Y for yes, give me an N for no. Right now, I'm in the ball camp of, unless the price is too good to pass up, ball camp. I can't believe it's at the ballpark. Unless the price is too good to pass up, I'm not doing it. I'm not making that move. Now, coming up, we do have some more juicy rumors, including one that I believe you're going to like the most. That one's coming up next. But before we get into that, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor and our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. All you got to do is go to your app store, click that black box with the purple P in it. Go ahead, do it right now, and get in on all the action. Now, Mr. Producer Brett Alper decided to showcase his ball knowledge with a little PrizePicks entry, and this is what he's got. This could look just like yours. You could take the less here on Mikal Bridges, Scotty Barnes with the more, and Shaden Sharp with the more as well. So all you've got to do is go and use the code CLNS to get $50 when you play just $5 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Again, up to 1,000 times your cash with PrizePicks. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, speaking of juicy NFL rumors, boy, did this come out of left field. So I did not expect Joey Bosa to get released by the Chargers, but it happened. And now the rumors are, well, since he's no longer with LA, could he stay in California and reunite with younger brother Nick? And that, I think, is a really cool headline if it ever happened. Here's what Adam Schefter had to say about him getting released by the Chargers, so let's rewind it a little bit. More about the Chargers releasing 5-time Pro Bowl selection Joey Bosa after a 9-year run together. So Adam Schefter tweeted this out. It was a great run for Joey Bosa, but the truth is he's much older, he's missing a lot of time due to injuries, and he's just not worth keeping on at the price that he was commanding. If you take a look at the last 4 seasons for Joey Bosa, he had 5 sacks in his last season, and before that, 6.5, 2.5. 2021 was a pretty decent season, but if you see what I see, the drop-off has happened. And I heard from one of our other chat sports guys who runs Saints Now, Mr. Trace Gerard. He's played in the last 3 seasons 30% of total defensive snaps, either just because he's missing time due to injury or whatever the case. The truth is, Joey Bosa is no longer what he once was when he entered the league. But does that mean that in the right system, he still can't be productive? And I think this headline right here, the Bosa boys in 2025 would draw major headlines. Joey, and Nick, by the way, is still phenomenal. He's so much fun. So I think it would be really cool to see. However, it's probably not going to happen. I don't see it happening. I mean, like I said, it's good PR. San Francisco fans would be elated to see it. I'm sure Joey and Nick themselves would be elated. But the truth is, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for a guy who's increasing in age and rapidly declining in production. So I wish you well, Joey, but unfortunately, I don't see you landing with younger brother Nick. All right, our last delicious, juicy rumor, Mr. Trey Hendrickson. He got his trade request in, and boy, oh boy, are the Bengals just all over the map. Here is what one Adam Schefter had to say about Trey Hendrickson's trade request. The Bengals have taken the rare step of granting all-pro defensive end Trey Hendrickson permission to seek a trade. It's been an honor and a privilege, said Hendrickson about his time in Cincinnati, to represent Cincinnati over the last 4 years. I love the city and organization. I appreciate the privilege of being allowed to explore my options. And whomever he decides to explore his options, I'm sure there's not going to be any lack of interest considering what he did on the field last year. This dude was number 1. Let me repeat that. Number 1 in the NFL in sacks. 17.5. He had 19 tackles for loss. So you are getting a bona fide number one edge rusher in Trey Hendrickson. And it's clear the Bengals are pouring all of their money into the offensive side of the ball. And this is why Trey Hendrickson, in my opinion, asked for a trade. T. Higgins gets franchise tagged. Jamar Chase is getting paid. Joe Burrow's getting paid. And he's looking around going, I'm the best at what I do in the league, and you're not going to give me what I want? Come on, man. That is crazy. So Trey Hendrickson, wherever he lands, is going to be the number one commodity. But let me ask you this. Where do you think he lands? Well, I've got some odds for it. How about the Washington Commanders, the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles, or the Los Angeles Chargers? Now, the Chargers I don't see really making this kind of move, considering they're probably going to be moving on from Khalil Mack, and they just got off of Joey Bosa. So unless they're taking 2 steps forward to take 1 step back, I guess, maybe that's kind of what they're looking at. I don't know. But these 4 right here, I could see this happening in a heartbeat, especially the Commanders, who are in desperate need of a premier pass rusher after that amazing season that we saw Jaden Daniels have and take them to the NFC Championship game. So Trey Hendrickson, I look at and I say, he's amazing off the jump. He's super strong, freak athletic. Where on earth is Trey Hendrickson going to land? Well, if I had to give my personal opinion on it, way too early, the Packers. And I hate to say that because I'm a diehard Bears fan, but the Packers have the money to do so. They do not have a pass rush whatsoever. Lucas Van Ness looks like a bust. And frankly, that would be the biggest splash signing since Aaron Rodgers was drafted. It's not even a draft. That's a draft. I'm not even talking. When's the last time you saw a major free agent go to Green Bay? Exactly. But I could see it happening. They would pour money into a guy like Trey Hendrickson. So just to recap everything that we've talked about on today's show, DK requesting a trade. Joey Bosa to the 49ers, in my opinion, not going to happen, but it's still out there. And Trey Hendrickson requesting a trade, and I have him going to the Green Bay Packers. So to end today's show, I want to do a little something fun here. Let's name a random player, shall we? I'm going to think off the top of my head any random player at any position. This is a fun game. Guys love to play these. We just talk about random football players all the time. I'm going to go with 3, 2, 1, Tyrann Mathieu. I think that's a pretty good random player, although he's not that random, right? Pretty good player. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Remember to subscribe, like the video, and send this to a friend that has never seen a Chat Sports video. Until then, we will see you next time. Be cool.